Atlanta Hawks season preview. Don't talk about it, be about it. Enough talk, more action. They need to make the playoffs this season. Let's dive right into the film. Point guard, you might have heard of this guy. Trae Young, pretty good. Got a lot of wiggle. Gets his own shot off against anybody. Not really Steph, more Dame to me, but yeah, that's pretty damn good offensively. He's got 40 to 50 foot range. He can hit any number of shots off pick and rolls. Thing that scared me a little bit in the preseason, he's got to take better control of the basketball. He has been pretty careless with a lot of his passes. Obviously, this is a little bit of a learning curve, a lot of new pieces he's got to get in tune with, but just a ton of his passes, just watching them, are just not accurate in the first place. He's got to pride himself in really, he can obviously score 30 points a game. I know he can pass the ball. I know he can do fancy things like this and make some phenomenal passes, but he also needs to be a little more accurate. They were 8th in three-point attempts, 30th in percentage. Certainly some of that has a lot to do with the shooters on the team, but it also is partially on the point guard not making perfect passes in the perfect spot. A lot made of his defense, obviously. Good thing, Hawks fans, is defense is mostly effort. I know he's a little guy. He can defend, all right? He can do it. Has he done it all the time? Absolutely not. But if he's locked in this season, if he's playing with this kind of intensity and effort, getting a good stance against a really talented Evan Fournier offensively, taking a charge, he can do it. He just needs to continue to pride himself on that, change the narrative, but there's no reason that he can't be a passable defender just like Steph Curry's become, just by doing it every night, by competing a little bit harder on that end. They have gotten him a lot of new toys. Bogdan Bogdanovic is the new two-guard. Not to be confused with Bojan Bogdanovic. He will get out and run for Trae a little bit. He's got a little more ISO scoring ability than I realized. He's got a lot of end-of-game situations, big shots that he's made over his young career so far. Super talented kid. I think didn't get enough shine in Sacramento. People didn't realize enough just how good he is. He can shoot off pin downs. He can spot up. He can basically do just about everything. This is cool to see. Look at the bench on that shot. That's what you want to see from a team chemistry standpoint. Again, off a pin down, one dribble. He's just a very pure shooter, scorer, dribble handoffs. Nothing really in his offensive repertoire that doesn't make him a perfectly good starting shooting guard, making it even more curious why the Kings wouldn't match that offer since he was clearly a crucial part of their core. Good lob passer as well, will benefit from playing with Collins and Capela. DeAndre Hunter, the second-year player out of Virginia, shot 35.5% from three last season, needs to continue to make threes. Bottom line, if you can make threes and play with size and play good defense as a 3-and-D player in the league, you'll get like Otto Porter, $20 million or something. Shot looks pretty good in the preseason. Obviously, it can be inconsistent at times, but that's going to be what's asked of him this season, especially with more offensive firepower. He's not going to really have to put the ball down all that much. He's going to be asked to spot up, defend hard, and make threes. The thing that I didn't love about him coming out in my draft video, which you could see up at top, is just not a tremendous amount of ball skills. To me, a guy, if you're going to take him top 5 like they did, you have to have some ISO scoring ability. You got to be a little better setting up pick and rolls, just handling the ball in general. He doesn't really have that to his game, which is why I think his ceiling's really limited. But now that they do have more talent, obviously more firepower, maybe they don't really need that from him. Straight line driver, particularly right hand. They try to clear out the right side for him sometimes to get to that strong right hand drive, like you'll see again here. But he's not an amazing finisher. Has to kind of jump off 2 feet most of the time. Limited offensively, but again, he's going to make his mark defensively and just needs to make open threes, take 10 million corner threes a day, and he'll be just fine. Straight line again, this time to the left, but you see again he needs to put the ball back in his right hand to finish. Should be a little more active this season, cutting, slashing to the basket. He's got some higher IQ passers, Rondo, Gallinari, all those guys great at finding guys off the move. John Collins, did you know he averaged 22 and 10 last season? To me, that's the quietest 22 and 10 in the league. I guess the question with him is, how much of it is empty stats and how good is he really? Shot 40% from 3 last season. Obviously, he'll need to make those, especially starting alongside Capela. But he needs to remember that that's not all he is. He made this shot, and then like next time he touched the ball, 13 on the shot clock, contested. You don't need to jack this three up. There's good threes and bad threes. I think he's a little too thirsty right now. He needs to let the game come to him. Like this, if you're spotting up in the corner and the ball finds you off good movement, absolutely shoot the ball. That's a good shot. The one before wasn't. And then the real challenge or thing that I'm looking forward to seeing if he's really grown is obviously as the starting four alongside Capela now, he's going to have to play, yes, on the perimeter a lot more. He's going to have to dribble a lot more. He's going to have to play make a lot more. Drives, lobs to Capela, big-to-big passes. That's got to be the huge area of developmental focus for him because I think his best role is going to be as the backup five for this team, getting the lobs and stuff with the cleared side, with the good passers that they have. That's where he's at his most exciting. And then again, if he can do this a little bit more frequently, some of those drives, then he's going to be really fun to watch. Clint Capela, can you believe he hasn't played a game as an Atlanta Hawk yet? Feels like he's been there for a year. Well, he has, I guess. But yes, he'll be a very helpful lob guy for Trae. He's a phenomenal roller. He's a offensive rebounder. He doesn't have any postgame whatsoever, but this was a nice move in the preseason. Got a little work on it in the preseason. Showed some post moves I've never seen out of him before. Wouldn't expect that in the regular season, but he will be active on the offensive glass. Obviously, we'll get a ton of screen assists and just roll hard and catch the ball and dunk it. Should shoot 70%, not too much will be asked of him offensively except run and dunk and roll and so on and so forth. Rajon Rondo, the new and improved backup point guard. I love Rajon Rondo. He's freaking awesome, so smart. 33% from three in the regular season, 37% in the postseason. Obviously, playoff Rondo is a different beast. Hopefully they get there. He's going to probe dribble, Nash dribble constantly along the baseline. Just got to get his chemistry down with these cutters, get that timing right. He's got some young and athletic guys in that second unit with him that should theoretically be pretty good with his IQ, just a little too amped up in his one preseason game thus far. And again, that three inconsistent over the regular season. He's going to annoy Hawks fans sometimes with some of that shot selection, but he makes the big ones, makes them when they count. Great at penetrating, finding Capela he'll be good with as well in that dunker spot since he is one of the best lob passers in the NBA, and then you got to get out and run if you're going to play with him, because even though he's a little bit old, he's not the fastest, doesn't matter, the ball moves faster, he's always looking ahead, he'll throw the ball full court all the time. You get out and run like that, they're going to have pretty good chemistry together. Danillo Gallinari, he's so good. A super six man. I mean, I can't believe that he's off the bench for them. He might have to end up starting over Hunter or somebody at some point because he is just so talented offensively. I can't believe, honestly, that they got him. And at a pretty decent discount, too, for the third year, like not guaranteed or whatever it is. His IQ is tremendous. He's gets to the line. He's got shot fakes. He's got post game. He's got ISO game. So good. Solomon Hill coming over from Miami. That's the only sighting we'll see of him, I think. Kevin Huerter adjusting to the bench. Let's see how he does. Obviously, a very pure shooter. His numbers are great. Shooting the ball, everything looks good. There's just always something that seems to be missing a little bit in terms of unlocking that next level with him. Maybe it's that he's a little loose with the ball and his handle at times. He's a little frail, obviously. He hasn't put on muscle or... and again, for a guy that was, some people wanted to call him Stephen Clay, you don't see Clay miss too many of these open ones. He seems like, even though his numbers, like I said, 38% from three, but too many of the wide open ones just feel like he hasn't consistently been elite enough at that end, even though he is for sure very good, and maybe the bench is the best place for him. But if he wants to prove he's not just like a Doug McDermott specialist or something, he's got to drive to the basket more often. He's got to get to the free throw line. He's got to do things like that. That unlocks another level in his game. Cam Reddish, the other first-round pick from last year, this one's pretty deep. Wow, if he could do that. I mean, 33% from three last season, like Hunter. Crucially important that he's able to hit his open spot-up shots. Like I said, they need to get a lot better shooting the ball from the outside. Also needs to learn shot selection. There's good long twos, there's bad long twos. This, with 15 on the shot clock and well contested and pretty much right on the line, is a bad one. And you watch the bench reaction, the coaches, that tells you a lot right here. When they get really frustrated, stuff like that, that's not good to see, because that's like, we've talked to you about this, that is not a good shot. again, there are good long twos, and he's got some of that in his game. Like this one, for example. This one is fine. Late shot clock, 5 seconds on the shot clock. You come off, elevate off a little ball screen, get to your spot around the elbow area. That's a much better shot. That's in good flow. How about this one? In transition, good. If you can get wide open like that, early break, get around to the free throw line again, that's good to see. He's got a little more of that in his game than Hunter. He can elevate, get to his spots, score a little bit in that mid-range area. He's got to get a lot better with his feel for the game. This is a pretty easy one to pass out of with the whole Orlando defense pulling in that much. Just throws the ball wildly inaccurate. He's got to cut out those turnovers. He's got to improve his floor vision. Got to settle down, let the game come to him, not play at 1,000 miles an hour. Is also charge and travel prone at times. But when you see flashes like this, for sure, he's a good athlete. He can handle a little bit. They trusted him to be the backup point guard at times last season. He can get to the rim, certainly more frequently than Hunter. What he's got to pride himself more on, though, is being a lockdown defender. Everybody talks about him being able to do that, but this isn't good enough, quite frankly. Better off the ball. That's where he's active, playing that free safety type, getting a lot of steals. That's a nice hit ahead to John Collins, where he's much better running. Again, he's long. He's able to get a lot of those deflections and steals. That's got to be what he prides himself on. What else is new? A little bit of zone look. I don't know if it's just preseason, but a little bit inspired by like the Heat Raptors. Looks like a little 1-2-2, 3-2 type. A lot of length up at top. Again, if they can get those guys, maybe a way to hide Trae as well a little bit more. But they do need to clean up the defensive glass, especially in a zone. They were 29th in defensive rebounding, 30th in points in the paint allowed. That's what Capela theoretically is supposed to help. But in that zone, again, they kind of got picked apart on the offensive rebounding. You put somebody like Reddish kind of as the like Siakam, Jimmy Butler type up top. Again, that's a lot of length. That's pretty good. Collins down there needs to be a little more active, but he could be theoretically pretty good in the zone as well. And then again, yes, you can force shots like that, then you'll be in pretty good shape. Another thing to keep an eye on, Nate McMillan, the lead assistant this season, proven veteran, great coach. People say, oh, he doesn't win enough in the playoffs. How many times has Lloyd Pierce been to the playoffs? Something to keep an eye on. Obviously, one seed over if Lloyd Pierce struggles to start the season. They went 20-47 last year, a step back in his second year. This is year 3 for him. They've got to be at least around 500. That'll put them in contention for sure for the play-in tournament. If not, if they struggle to start the season, I wouldn't be surprised at all for Nate McMillan to take over this team and maybe put in a little more structure because sometimes it seems like they run a million different things. They got a million different identities, things they want to do. I feel like at times maybe McMillan could hone in on what they do well and get these guys focused. Thanks a lot for watching. If you want a 7-minute bonus video, all exclusive Hawks clips that were not in this video that dive a little deeper into the other guys on the roster, subscribe, patreon.com/scoutwithbrian right here to unlock that today, instantly. Only $2 a month gets that unlocked. Cut for time also, couldn't mention Chris Dunn, Tony Snell, Onyeka Okongwu, the rookie. Thanks for watching.